Never happened to you to go to a violin maker and then you're getting into his world of ideas and what he's focusing on? So, this wood has been cut when the moon was like that. You have to change the bass bar because it's like this. The sound post needs to be 100 years old. All kind of strange matters which you don't have any possibility to verify, check it, control it, and you just have the impression, damn, I'm just a complete innocent and that guy knows so much. Today we will unveil the mystery of violin making and we will go into details to understand what really counts. If you're a violin player, sooner or later you come into a workshop where you have a person in front of you who is explaining you nice pieces of wood. I have tons of customers who tell me that they have seen the piece of wood and then when I look at the instrument, they tell me this was made by this and this maker and it wasn't made by that maker because I can see it, who made it, don't want to go into details. But I'm too much into it that I right away see where it is made, who it made, and if it is original or not, or if they just put it in a name and then they sell it for something they tell they made, but they're not even able to do it. I have not even rehearsed a bow in my life. I'm doing nothing else than building instruments from the piece of wood to a finished made newborn instrument. I do that because at that point I know exactly what I'm selling, and this gives me the ability to judge other people's working, other people's marketing strategy, and everybody has a certain strategy. I also have a strategy. My strategy is connected to this YouTube channel, and before YouTube I made it in a different way, but always the same way. I didn't change my way of working. I explain people. I love to sell things where I know what it is, and I'm not very good in selling instruments from others. I prefer to sell my own because I know exactly how it works, how it's made, and that it's perfectly reliable. When you go to violin makers and they have these super fancy ideas that you show up with an instrument, could you help me to sound adjust the instrument, and they tell you, you have to change the bass bar. You have to already think, there must be something wrong. This guy is judging something which he's not able to judge like that. You cannot by free eye tell somebody what you have to change inside the instrument, or the sound post is not good. It doesn't work like this. And violin making is a very complex subject which is made out of many small tiny pieces which have to be made in a certain way. And this constellation that these pieces fit very well together, transmit the sound and make at the very end a certain final result. And it's all about the result. So when you shop for an instrument, you do nothing else than buying for that amount of money you put on the plate a certain quantity of sound. And the better that sound is, playability, volume, character, the ease to make what you want, the ability to change that sound as you want it from depending where you stroke the bow on the string. All these create a quality, and the amount of money you put on the plate is nothing else than you try to shop for the best quality for that amount of money you have. And that's why I have several grades of instruments, and you can then wait and compare it with others. That's all about, yeah? If you go to a violin maker shop somewhere, I don't know where, out of nowhere where nobody else is, and these people also have to compete with others around the world like me because I'm on YouTube, then they have to justify a certain way of working they do with things which you cannot measure. And that's exactly the point where you have to be alarmed that this could be that they want to justify something and then they say, yeah, this is the instrument, probably you have to change instrument, yeah? Every instrument you can make better, certainly. It's true that every instrument has its own character, but when the makers then starts to talk about certain things which cost too much to adjust it this or that way, or that the sound post should be out of a wood like 100 years of seasoning, or the varnish has to be like this, then I would probably make a step back and say, maybe it's better we shop a little bit somewhere else where we can get something as it is correct without all these strange stories about. It's true that we all, as soon as there is an area in the making, you don't know much about it, you focus a little bit more attention, especially in the first years myself. At a certain point, I thought only oil varnish, and I made like 128 different types of varnish, but I was never like this, that I said only oil varnish. Indeed, we use spirit varnish for the lower grade instruments, and for the master instruments, oil varnish. Everything has a certain impact, and you can make great sounding instruments with spirit varnish. Still, I would probably prefer to make my own instruments with oil varnish, and very likely the old makers use the oil varnish, but it's not that now the whole world has to do it like this, and this is the only thing, and it's like a mission and or a religion. It's a little bit like in politics. Now this channel is completely politics free, but as soon as something becomes a little bit too extreme, I just give you the advice, make a step back. If too many people are yelling for one person, make a step back. It's that's always a little bit dangerous, yeah? At least past has told us this, and even in violin making, this is a pretty good rule. I'm not the only violin maker out there, and I wouldn't be able to survive if I wouldn't have all my competitors here in Cremona. Together, all the violin makers of Cremona make this precious shopping experience for you when you come to Cremona, that you can visit them, that you can compare them, that you can talk to them, yeah? So, because there are others, every single one is giving his best, okay? Make a step back and reflect a little bit what your violin maker is focusing on. Would be very interesting to hear what your violin maker is focusing on. And if you could leave me that, if it's the strings, the tailpiece, the fine tuner, the fingerboard, the shoulder rest, the chin rest, the sound post, the bass bar, the varnish, the model. His violins are the only ones, or he even saw the spirit of Stradivari in his workshop. And I'm just naming here a few things which I just received as a feedback from my customers. And all these are serious people, and they make their living, you know. Sometimes I'm really impressed. And I'm curious to read your experience regarding your violin maker who has some interesting subject he's focusing maybe too much on it to excuse an area where he doesn't know anything about. Hope you enjoyed this one. See you next time. Ciao, ciao.